I think inherently, when you're dyslexic or you have ADHD or any neurotypical neurodivergence, you realize you're not quite right.
Something's going on.
The system that you're in perhaps isn't for you. And so naturally you accept that maybe I have to find my own path. And I think that then translates later in life to, I don't have to have a 9 to 5. I don't have to have a job where I work for the weekend. And I can have a job that I enjoy, or I can just look at a situation and change it. So going back to the visa interview, I came out thinking, I don't want that job. I'd prefer to make videos for the 20,000 subscribers that I had on YouTube at the time, be broke, but be happy. That for me is a better lifestyle than traveling 80% of the time for, I don't know what the salary was, but it would have been a decent salary, an okay salary. I thought that's not passion. That's not happiness. Happiness isn't the salary. We're taught that we need to have a bigger paycheck. We're taught we need to work for the big corporate companies because that looks good. No, it's just your ego. You're not actually better off because your ego is happy. It's just superficial shit.
Do you think that's kind of societal norm is kind of pushing people into, you need a 9 to 5, you need this is how it should be done and there's no other way to do it? Maybe being dyslexic, having ADHD, you had to find another way.
Yeah.
So it pushed you, whereas people that aren't dyslexic, don't have ADHD, they can kind of fit into it, but they don't exactly like it. Whereas you had to find a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are taught, I mean, the system needs people to want to have those jobs, needs the economy can't work if everyone's entrepreneurial. The society just wouldn't work. But at the same time, the certain neurodivergencies have different benefits to them. And when you do have ADHD or you do have dyslexia, you are naturally more creative because you've always had to use that part of your brain to think, right, I don't know the answer to this. How can I figure out the answer? Or I don't have the ability to do this. How am I going to get to over here if I can't go the normal route?
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to find my own route here.
Do you ever get it when you're writing out a text and you can't spell a word and you have to reform the whole sentence in order to...
But that's exactly it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's exactly it. I don't know this word. Right. Cool. Yes. Rewrite the sentence. Or I'm going to write 5 words in place of that one thing because I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But that's the basic version of it. But that's essentially business. Is I've got this idea, or I've seen an opportunity over here. I'm here. How am I going to get there? We've been doing that all our lives, because we've had to be creative with however we try and answer something or don't.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's kind of hardwired into if you have a non-typical brain. But also, I kind of felt like you hear all these, you often hear sob stories. I started this business because I had this, or I was successful because this happened in my life and it caused tragedy and I had to get away from it. And I remember sitting on the tube to my day job, thinking I've had a pretty cushy life. I mean, yeah, being dyslexic is pretty crap, but I went to a decent school. My parents are still together. My parents are still alive. Nothing happened in my childhood that was
traumatic.
That was traumatic.
Yeah.
So I needed to find a bit of fuel, and I thought maybe dyslexia is my fuel. And then I started to dig deep, and I kind of realized that no, there is anger in there. I've got this epic chip on my shoulder about dyslexia. I just kind of polyfilled over it, and I thought, no, I need that energy, and I keep kind of scratching that itch, scratching that scab, to open that wound, to give me fuel to say, oh yeah, I have this chip on my shoulder. Let's go do something. Let's go show society who failed me at my. I'm technically stupid because I've only got 4 GCSEs. I had to redo English 3 times. I had to do a foundation degree rather than going straight to uni and doing a full degree. So I guess by society, I'm stupid, but no, I run a business now. I live an okay life, a life that typically I probably shouldn't have, based on the results.
It's funny you talk about the kind of fuel that you have, because I remember in my life when I first started posting on my Instagram photography, and it was shit because it was the first photos I took, but it was crap. But I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. I'll keep posting. And I remember a friend group that I was in at the time saying, this is really embarrassing. You can't do that. and they were like, you're an embarrassment to us. You can't do that. So I blocked all of them and was like, I'm totally moving away. And whenever I need fuel, I'm like thinking about what they would think of what I'm doing. And if I don't succeed, I feel terrible because I know that they'll be watching. And that's kind of my fuel, adding fuel to the fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where did YouTube come into that? At what point did you put, because we have cameras today, but we're veterans at sitting in front of a camera.
Yeah.
It can be quite a weird thing sitting in front of a camera. How did that come about?
So I've always, I guess when I got my corporate career, so at Apple, I joined Apple I used to teach people Logic Pro, which is the professional music production program. And that was a kind of one-on-one thing. And I got good at presenting. And then Apple sent me off to this horrible hotel near Heathrow. And they did this incredible 2-week course where you literally present for 8 hours of the day. Just constant presenting. You do a 50-minute presentation, feedback, change it. 50-minute presentation, feedback, change it. And so it drills into your head, one, what good presenting looks like, but two, it drills into your head that it is going to be shit sometimes. Sometimes you have to listen to the feedback, and sometimes you have to actively seek the feedback to make the next one better. So it's always this mindset of what you've done, you've done it. It's that performance is done. So don't dwell on it, move on to the next one. Just make sure the next one is always better than the first one. So I simply apply that to YouTube. But to answer your question about talking to a camera, by the time it came to actually turning on the camera, I'd been presenting at Apple for 4 years. I was then headhunted to be a trainer at another company, and I presented to various people there, various groups, 1-on-1, 1 to 100, for I think another 3, 4, 5 years. And doing video conferences and video training sessions. So it was actually just completely normal. It was just...
So you found it quite easy. It was quite natural for you.
It was, yeah. And also, because I think the ADHD thing just means that I can literally just keep talking. I just... so do feel free to just say, Adrian, cool, that's done 15 minutes on this. Let's move on.
Not at all. That's the same as me.
Yeah.
He can turn on a camera and I can walk away and I'll be like, no idea what I just said.
Yeah, it just falls out. My brain is saying, "Oh, there's an idea. Yeah, let's talk about that. Oh no, yeah, that's a good idea."
Like no idea.